Hey guys, Zazza here and welcome to my first ever Gran Turismo Sport gameplay video where I'm going to show you my Fs, my first win, and more interesting than that, dealing with the pressure, also known as bottling it. But before we get into the video, I'd like to say a personal thank you to anyone who leaves a like, comments on the video and subscribes to the channel. If you are taking time out to invest in this channel, I want to show my appreciation towards you. So a big thanks from me, and I hope to engage with you all as much as possible on my newly formed sim racing journey here and via the Discord, which you can find a link to in the description below. So, some of you know that I've been playing on my PlayStation 3 for the best part of 14 years. So picking up Gran Turismo Sport with the PS5 last week, you can imagine things weren't all fairy tales and happy endings. Here you can see me in my glory making all the mistakes that goes with my official title of a noob. From scraping the barriers, picking up penalties for ignoring final corner track limits, mowing the grass, spinning on gravel, spinning on curbs, spinning on track, forgetting even to turn off the traction control. These are but a few of the blunders that I have to admit to. The only thing that's missing here is the just pass plates on the front and back of the car. So with all those Fs out of the way, as you can see, I chose to concentrate my time on one daily race, and that was Sardinia C, 2 Group 4 FF cars, and I went for the OP car of choice, the RCZ, as this was one less thing to have to worry about when racing players already used to the game. We qualify on pole with a 56.916, and contrary to my plans of making my first video all around my first win, as great as the feeling was, another race captured my attention, and trust me, you'll see why shortly. The auto drive is on, and I found a quick upshift to second to maximise the start and help in getting away from the Belgian behind, who quickly got swallowed up by the Brit. By the end of lap 1, we were 3.7 seconds clear. By the end of lap 2, we were almost 4 seconds clear. And the end of lap 3, it was 4.8 seconds clear, where it remained stagnated until the end of the race, with tenths traded tick for tat between us and Crib 78 behind. And here you see me coming down the start-finish straight to take the victory, my first ever GT Sports victory, and I celebrated it here on my own in the loft. It's not the same success as the 7-time champion of Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher, but it's my first GT Sports victory. And there you have it, ticker tape flying, pole position, fastest lap, and a clean race. What more could you ask for? Well, that brings me on to the race of choice. My third day playing Gran Turismo Sport and ranking my DR up to about 20k, I found myself in lobbies with A and A+ drivers, with a qualifying time of 56.090, which didn't mean anything to me at the time as I was concentrating on dialing in settings on the new equipment, not to mention learning tyre models, tracks, weight transfer, braking, and more importantly, trail braking. As some of you know, this is a huge factor in making up time in the game. We'll come back to that time shortly. As we start the race in 5th, I'd like to hear your comments in the description below around what I call push to pass. Now this isn't the overtake button or ERS deployment as some of you may know on a modern Formula 1 car, but this is let's use the side of your car to help me get round the corner. But this is a passing manoeuvre that I try to avoid. But if it's an accepted method of overtaking, then please let me know and I'll start to adapt my driving style. As you saw there, the Belgian gives us the first of our 2 examples, and Colin Honda behind, who's using his flashlights to help him go faster, will give us the second example into the final hairpin. As I said, I do go deep into the final hairpin, leaving the door open, but this is definitely not the method of passing I would like to use. But the game gives no penalties, and I'm trying to work out if this is an accepted method of passing, as I seem to be going backwards as a result. At the moment, I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. When I'm free to take my own lines and find the rhythm of the track, time trialling is my strength. Throwing cars and chaos into the mix, finding a consistent race pace through fear of barging and knocking is my weakness. So at the moment, I find myself concentrating on defending rather than attacking. And in this race, soon we'll be concentrating on our battle with Key Devil 26. As far as I'm aware, no relation to someone else, and ironically, I can't bring myself to name drop on my very first video, but I'm sure most of you will understand who I'm talking about. For those that don't and are curious, drop me a DM, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, all at Zazza Racing Team. So those of you that have noticed, Colin Honda was using his Go Faster flashlights earlier in the race, but seems to be still in front of me, making zero progress in getting away. Now for those of you thinking I should return the favour, I refrain from doing this because 1, it's not my style, and 2, I have no idea where the flash button is. The only 2 buttons I know are reverse and look behind, and thankfully in this race we only use the latter. So Key Devil 26 has got past Baba Bao. I hope I said that right, apologies if I didn't, and he's going to start closing up on me pretty quickly. I worked out that this was going to be a race about defending as well as looking for mistakes from Colin Honda, as my pace seemed to be on par. You have to remember, I've been away from online racing for years, so I haven't built up that confidence of dealing with that explosive feeling where all your muscles in your body do that weird thing where they pretend to be a plank of hard wood, and all of a sudden you're trying to take corners with no elbow joints and no kneecaps. Please tell me some of you can relate to this, and that you found yourself in that position with the pressure mounting from behind. It doesn't matter if you're quicker. If you allow that pressure to build up and you've not trained yourself to deal with it, then sooner or later you'll find yourself in the barrier feeling like someone just popped that cork on the shaken bottle of champagne, and that's the end of your race. Don't get me wrong, I've only been playing GT Sports for a few days now, and I'm still in that training phase of dealing with the pressure. I had it down to a T when I was younger, but this time around I feel it more. Whether that's because I'm older, I'm not sure. But anyway, I find myself in this position, so dicing with the cars behind, I have to make sure that all my braking points are spot on, because one mistake will lose me 2 immediate positions behind and allow 9th to close in. Instead of taking the optimum racing line for the fastest way around the track, as you can see, lap 2 I do a 56.6. Lap 3 I'm already starting to think about what's happening behind, and we do a 56.9. Lap 4 we're in the mid 57s, and I think that's the way that it's going to remain for the rest of this race. Some of you will relate to racing in this way, the build up of pressure from the cars behind. Unfortunately, the only way to deal with this pressure is to put yourself in the situation again and again. At first, the cork will pop multiple times in one race maybe, until you're at the back. But as you progress, and the more and more you race in this way, especially close racing, you'll be able to deal with that pressure, and no matter how much the bottle gets shaken, the cork will stay in. So the next time you're learning a track, if you're not already doing so, learn not only how to race the racing line, but also how to race on the defensive line, so you're hitting brake markers on the opposite side of the track. In turn, the next time you have to use the inside line in a race, you'll know exactly where to brake, and this not only helps in attacking the cars in front, but also helps in dealing with the pressure from behind. So I'll let you continue watching this race to see if I bottle it or not, or I can withstand the pressure. There's a couple of laps to go. Now, I know some of you like watching the guys at the very top of GT Sports. It's something that I've been doing myself over the past year, and I have a great appreciation for how some of these guys can play to such a high standard whilst reading the chat, answering questions and having a laugh online. How they do this at the moment is beyond me, and I hope that I can build up to something like that. I was supposed to stream this week, but I felt that I wasn't ready. I was also supposed to do the manufacturers and the Nations Cup, but I think those of you who play the game will understand. I've come in not knowing the game, having to learn the physics and everything about the game. So I'm just taking one track at a time. I'm learning one car, one track, and I'm going to build myself up slowly. Sorry, just coming back to the race, coming around the final corner, I managed to keep my nerve and the cork stayed in the bottle, and on this occasion I managed to come across the line all intact in 6th place. So I mentioned at the start of this race that my qualifying time of 59.090 didn't really mean much to me at the beginning of the race, and I don't really understand the lobbies that I'm in to a great deal. But when I went and looked over the stats, I was surprised to see that on the Kudos Prime, my time took me to 484th at this track combination for the week's daily races. It was only 4 tenths off the fastest time, and for me, I felt quite proud of that. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Here I'm in the chat speaking to Key Devil 26, and we just exchanged some comments, some nice comments there. So well done to you, sir. Really enjoyed that race, and I hope to see you again soon. So that's it from me, guys. I just want to say thank you to anyone who's still watching this far into the video. Thank you to anyone who's liked, commented, or subscribed to the channel. Take care, stay safe, and I shall see you in the next video.